Hello, folks. Pleased to welcome Terry Christopher, CEO of Zonte Metals, back on. Welcome, Terry.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for having us on again.
Yes, so I guess you've been pretty busy out there. I know you set up a data room. Are you getting much interest by majors or mining companies?
Yes.
Okay. So what is it like? What are they seeing more so than, say, investors? I don't think a lot of investors see the potential of these targets, and I understand you have some slides to kind of highlight this.
Yeah. So today I'll take you through just one target and explain what we're doing, and the scale of the target and that. So what larger entities are seeing is, we have a lot of layers of data, I guess. Initially we went in, we chased our targets with just magnetics and gravity surveys. We chased just the highs. It's been obvious we've not been drilling now for nearly 2 years. So what we did, we kind of backtracked. We were hitting copper, but we kind of backtracked after we didn't, pull a real good core. And since that time, we've been doing a lot of different types of exploration techniques over the target areas and property in general. And what this ultimately has led to now is a point where we have numerous targets. Some are right at drill ready, some are working their way towards drill ready, but we have 7 and 8 layers of data. And that kind of data set is attractive to a technical team that want to take a look at an opportunity for discovery. The other thing that's important for us is, we're only looking at the largest targets. We only look at the targets that got significant scale. And interestingly enough, even K6, which is what we're going to talk about today, is probably our smallest target, and that's still quite large. So they're looking, the scale is there. The system carries copper from, I think at this point in time, I think we have 12 targets. 11 of the targets contain copper at surface. So we know that there's copper, on each of the most all targets. Where we drilled, at Duns Mountain, we hit both high grade and low grade copper. And the K6 target, we hit copper and drill core there as well. So we know the system is charged in copper. So now it's a matter of to refine the exploration, I guess, program to hopefully have a better success in the drill bit.
Okay, gotcha. So we can have a look at this K6 and get some detail there.
So this is a presentation, and it'll take you through K6 from initial discovery to where we are now. It'll also show you what we did early days, and then where we are in terms of some of the data that we have. So I'll just share the screen here. Get now.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So the K6 is a great example of what from discovery of something interesting in the field to drilling, and then the additional exploration that we did, up to this point in time. So what we did at K6, we started, let's call it, these are different stages. We did the gravity and the mag survey. We brought the drill rig in, we drilled both the highs and the mag and the gravity. We hit bits of copper and alteration in the drill holes, but we didn't make a big discovery. So then, stage three was a program, actually project wide, where we started soil sampling. We wanted to pick up the anomalies, and that led to finding an area in the K6 area that was interesting. We did actually 2 phases of structural analysis here. We're focused a lot on structure, though we don't talk about it. Structure is a big part of our target definition as well. As is, we don't talk about the alteration and the geological mapping, but we spend a lot of time on structure and a lot of time on alteration, and we want to find those in combination with the other ones. So now where we are, we've got sort of 1 through 5 completed. we're waiting on a tiny bit of data. We'll model all of our data and we'll drill the K6 target. So this is a satellite imagery of the K6 area, and there's a pink star in here. We were and the white line's actually an ATV trail that goes to Duns Mountain, and Duns Mountain is 15 kilometers north of here. We drove over this many times, and one day we stopped and had a look at the rocks where that pink box is. Discovered it was a fairly altered sequence of rocks that was, had classic IOCG signature. None of this type of rock is noted on any of the geological maps around for the area. So this is what started the process. After that, and what you're going to see in the subsequent slides, you're going to see the exact image that's here with different layers of data going through it. And some of it you'll be able to see through, like you'll see these black areas are ponds. You'll see the ponds in some of the imagery, but the grid is 500 meters, and this is the exact grid and imagery that you're going to see with the data laid on top of it. So next what we did a mag survey, and you still can see the white trace of the ATV line in here, the ATV trail, and we're still at 500 meter blocks or scale. And what you see here is the magnetic survey. And so the magnetic survey tells you, various things in the rock, but it's magnetite is one of the key features of these hydrothermal systems and IOCG deposits. And the reds here are the high magnetic signatures.
So the pink area is the pink area higher or lower than
the pink area? The pink, yeah. So the pink is the highest. So it's got the most hydrothermal magnetite in this area here. So this area here is actually K6. And so we then subsequently did a gravity survey. And this is the gravity survey again, it's the exact same imagery here. This is actually 2 phases of gravity here, completed, one in 2019 and one this past winter, and they're combined here. So here's our K6, a gravity anomaly sitting right in here. And here's the new target we discovered, a K6 South target right in here. So they're fairly close together. Let's say they're 500 meters apart. So this is where our mag data is on our K6 target, and this is where our gravity data is. So what I'm going to do at the next slide here, I'm going to show you, because geophysics is all about reds are high and blues are low, whether you do gravity, mag, or whatever. So where we use magnetics and gravity, and all the profiles will be reds, right, out for high. So instead of presenting the gravity as a red, what I'm going to do with the subsequent slides, show gravity as white, the white contour line. So I'll just flick back here. So here is the gravity anomaly without contours. Here's the gravity with contours. And you see the gravity at K6 is high through here. And the gravity down here in K6 South is high. So this is a high gravity anomaly. This is a high gravity anomaly. So here's an imagery of the gravity, just the gravity contours put on the satellite imagery. And it's just to give you a reference for the targets themselves.
Again, now what is the high gravity? What is that supposed to indicate?
So high gravity is a indication where, so rocks have a specific gravity or have a gravity, and sometimes these gravity anomalies, it could mean that there's additional alteration with sulfide content that would bring the gravity up higher than the background values.
So injected with metals, so to speak.
With metals, it could be also, could also represent hematite alteration. And sometimes these gravity anomalies just may represent a dense rock, but it's the density. So we're looking at increases in density in these red areas on the gravity anomaly. What we want to now try to understand, do they represent sulfide? Do they also represent additional density as a result of fluids coming in and depositing a sulfide? And that's what we're looking at in the gravity.
Okay.
So again, the gravity contour is just on the satellite imagery here. So the next slide here is what we're going to show you here now is, this is the magnetic data. in pinks. The pinks are the high, and this is the gravity data in contours. So this is a great way to display, two data sets that generally are displayed by all pinks on high. So here we have up at the K6 target, we have the magnetics in pinks. This is a strong magnetic anomaly here. And we see the white contour lines for the gravity anomaly sitting at the K6 target as well. On the K6 South target, what we see is the gravity anomaly, the highest part of the gravity anomaly, which is in the center part here, is associated with a lower signature in the magnetics. And that's important as well. Should more work define certain interests there, but it's a little bit technical, so we won't get into it. But these are the types of things we're looking for here.
Okay.
So we know now we have in both cases, K6 and K6 South, we've got a gravity anomaly associated with high magnetics. One of the other things that you'll see these three black lines in here, they're actually faults in here. What's interesting here is the K6 South target is actually bound by this fault here and bound by this fault. It's fault bound, so it's in this fault block in here. K6 target up here passes over the fault boundary. So what the importance of that is yet we don't know, but these are the things that we're always looking out for. But here we have now the K6 targets, and they're both associated with magnetics, gravity, and a fault system. This fault system actually is the Cross Hills fault system, which is the property is named after. So what we did in 2019, this is the data we have. We had the magnetics and we had the gravity. We drilled 2 holes. Number 7 was drilled in the strongest part of the magnetic anomaly, and that's this one in here. And we saw a lot of, magnetite, hydrothermal magnetite alteration. We see some changes in the iron oxide where we see hematite coming in. We did see spotty copper here and there. And number 6 was drilled in the strongest part of the gravity anomaly. And this one here was probably one of the most strongly hydraulically thermal altered drill hole that we've seen on the property to date. The amount of alteration in this one was fairly significant. So in this case, we know that the gravity in this case was picking up significant hydrothermal alteration. So that was quite intriguing. So this was back in 2019. We drilled a few more holes after that, and then we stopped the drilling. And then we started a property-wide soil survey. And the idea was to find areas with elevated soils. This actually surprised us here. And what this is here is, these are our drill holes here. And you can see the soil grid is running through here. You see there's low values actually. It's difficult to see, but there's low values going through the area we drilled. What happened?
We didn't have much soil. There wasn't much on soil where you drilled in hindsight.
We had no soil data at the time. We
Yeah.
really were chasing the magnetic highs and the gravity highs. And what you see here is just south of, so this is the main target we call K6, whereas the coincident magnetics and gravity anomalies, highs. And what we see here is just on the flank, we see high copper values in the soils. And here's the thing, it's sitting on the flank. There's actually a change in the magnetics in here. The gravity sort changes in here, and we see elevated copper through the soils as well. It's also associated with a fault in here, and geologically, there's something happening in that area that's important as well that makes this area a high priority for us drilling. The alteration is very attractive in that area as well. So all of a sudden we have this area that's south of the area we drilled. So we went in then so the soils actually surprised us here. So we went in and did some more prospecting in that area. Again, we weren't focused on the areas outside the anomalies. We're focused within the strongest part of the anomalies. And what we found was copper and rocks. And these are the pink squares in here. And we found some nice copper mineralization, several different styles of mineralization. And so so all of a sudden we have a valid target now. We've got all the ingredients for a target. There are actually some nice pictures of the rock mineralization on our corporate presentation on our webpage here as well, which I don't have in this short presentation today. So to further define this area. So this area in the box here is the high priority area for us right now. So this is the area where we're going to drill here. This is a recent and completed soil survey grid that you see, the black dots here. We did about, I think, a couple hundred samples through the area. It's actually more samples taken than these black dots. We did some more after we sampled. So these samples are in the lab. We should be getting those at some point here shortly. So when we get all this data here, we're going to take all the data and we're going to do 3D modeling of this area, and we're just going to pick the drill sites. And we know we're going to be drilling in here based on a number of factors in here. So so this is the area that we're focused on here. We'll see what the K6 South target. I'll just pop back for a second. The K6 South target's covered in soils as well. It'll be interesting to see if we get the anomaly over the soil anomaly, if there's one over the gravity area high, or whether we're going to get it off to the sides or where not. So that's something it'll be interesting to see once we get the data back here. But this is definitely the area that we're going to be focused on here in the coming drill program. So right now, where we are with this particular target is, it's just about ready. We're going to wait for a little bit more data here. We'll do the 3D modeling on all of our data, pick the drill sites, and then we're just about ready to go. In fact, I spoke with the drill company last night. So they got capacity now, so it's just a matter for us just to tidy this up, and then we'll go drilling.
Okay, that's great.
So this is an example of what we're doing with all of our targets now. Like, we drilled and had some success early on, but now what we're finding is, we're doing multiple layers of exploration techniques, and we're hopefully able to better define, better de-risk these targets before we bring the drill rig in, hopefully with better success, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that's awesome. I wanted to keep this, kind of short, and maybe when you get the rest of the data back, we can do a quick revisit on
absolutely,
and their drill targets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Terry, and it's shaping up nicely.
Yeah, no, we're excited. So we're excited to get going here. The labs are always slow, and we're waiting for that data. And then we just got to pull the trigger, right? So.
Okay. All right. Thanks, and glad you came back on.
Thank you, Ron. Thanks for this.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.